I'm not a politician, and maybe this will be very, very important information, but this looks to me like one of the most garden variety divorce files I have ever seen.
Garden variety divorce. Welcome back to Square Off. That was Yavapai County Judge John Napper back in June, commenting on Ruben and Kate Gallegos' divorce records. An online news site backed by a Republican billionaire sued to unseal the records. The judge didn't understand what the fuss was all about. Months later, the records have been unsealed. Will this fuss make a difference in Ruben Gallegos' Senate race or Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallegos' political future? Our politics panel steps in to share their insights. Chad Haywood is a Republican consultant at Camelback Strategy and a former Arizona Republican Party executive director in the pre-Trump era. Stephen Slagocki is a former chair of the Maricopa County Democratic Party. Welcome back and welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you guys today. Let's start. Any disclosures about any of the candidates, connections to any of the candidates we're going to talk about today?
Nothing
Stephen?
for me for today.
Nothing today?
No, and if one comes up, I'll bring it up.
Please let us know. So the records have been unsealed. The Arizona Supreme Court ordered the release late in the week. Hundreds of records, hundreds of pages. What was your takeaway from the documents?
You know, I was pretty disgusted by what Kari Lake has been doing for the past several months on this. They made that this was going to be some bombshell revelation. There was nothing in there. This was a giant nothing burger, and it's really a disgusting campaign tactic that I think voters are going to see through. This was a political stunt to try and save a failing Senate candidate, a Senate candidate campaign that is falling very far behind, and I think voters are going to reject her once again.
Was it a nothing burger?
Look, the Gallegos have been working together politically and for their kids for a long time. So I think it was an outside group that requested this quite a while ago. Part of the challenge, I think, for Lake and others is that expectations were set very high that there'd be some bombshell in there. But I think most voters, if they see parents working together for their kids, helping one another in their careers, it really is a nothing burger.
And Kari Lake had scheduled a news conference for the day after the release and promptly canceled that news conference the night before when she realized when she saw the soundbite from
I think it says a lot
Judge Napper. But a larger question, I guess, you both run campaigns, been on campaigns. Are divorce records fair game?
I personally think that we should respect the privacy of the two of them. They're working together. They're protecting the privacy of their family, just like I would do, you would do, or I'm sure you would do as well. So I just think, again, this was a desperate political stunt, and it's just really shameful that Kari Lake and her team have done this.
Now, I will add, as a journalist, there's a pretty high bar in Arizona to sealing records. Our laws generally favor openness.
Correct.
But
yeah, so I think it really is circumstantial. Depends on the circumstance. In this case, they're both public officials. I mean, Phoenix is one of the largest cities in the country. Gallego is running for the U.S. Senate. So I can see why they would want to open those up. In some cases, for example, out in Chandler right now, there's a legislative candidate, Nicholas Gonzalez, where his records have been opened up. There's court decrees, there's unpaid child support. So some of those things that come up can reveal things about character to voters that are important to voters and matter. It just seems like in this case, they've worked this out amicably, and it's not much of anything.
okay, and we'll get to that LD13 race you alluded to in a few minutes. Next up, though, back to the future. Arizona Republicans and their allies at Turning Point USA are bragging about their high early ballot returns by Republican voters. We are only a week and a half into early ballot season. Wasn't it just a minute ago that Donald Trump was saying, don't turn in early ballots, it's corrupt? I mean, you know what he said. Here's what one of those Mojave County voters I spoke to, we put up on the air a minute ago said. Take a listen.
Said you voted early for the first time.
For the first time.
Why did you vote early this year?
Honestly, because Donald Trump told me to.
Why did you vote early this year? Because Donald Trump told me to. You must get a laugh out of some of this if you remember the good old days.
Well, look, Bram, conservatives used to be who led on early voting in Arizona, going all the way back to marriage initiatives, conservative ballot initiatives. It was Republicans that sort of led the way in registering different communities, faith communities, on voting early. With all of the questions around 2020, 2022, there's just been a huge shift in behavior. So the AZ GOP, Turning Point, the Trump campaign, they do have a lot to be proud of. But essentially, we've reverted back to the behavior we've had as Republicans. And I'm in a household with 3 Republican voters. So I've gotten the mail pieces with Donald Trump's quote, "Vote early." I think Republicans have realized you can't give the other competitor 28 days, 30 days to vote and leave it all to one day. And so I'm glad as a Republican that we're back to the behavior that we had pre-2020 and 2022.
Pre-2020. And Democrats, are they reverting to their behavior coming in late?
Yeah, there's a couple reasons for this. Yes, we are a little bit behind to where we would like to be and where we were 4 years ago. I think the ballots took a little bit longer to come out this time. The holiday kind of delayed things. We know there's some issues in Pima County as well that have delayed a lot of Democratic votes. I've had a ton of people reach out to me. I haven't got my ballot yet. Where's my ballot? And I'm like, it's coming, don't worry. Also, it's important to note that the ballot is extremely long. 2 pages, we're near 80 questions, I believe we're at. Yeah. So people are gonna take their time, they're gonna research this, and hopefully we're gonna get those ballots back in right away, because we gotta build up that early vote. So I hope the Dems are gonna turn in their votes as soon as possible.
And to be clear, many Republicans still don't trust early voting.
Oh, sure. There's some skepticism on early voting for sure, but there's been a lot of work the last few months. Paid volunteers, people going to doors saying, it's okay, you can track this. In Arizona, Donald Trump has said this is safe. And so you're seeing that impact right now. Looking at my own ballot, I had fatigue just working through it. With consolidated elections, citizen initiatives, the legislative counter proposals, it's just a lot to work through.
Before we end, I want to get to races to watch. Stephen, lead off.
I'm a county guy. The county's in my heart. So I'm really invested in Tim Stringham running for Maricopa County Recorder. That's a very critical race. He's running against somebody who wants to eliminate vote by mail, eliminate early ballots, as well as Tyler Camp, who's running for sheriff, who's running against Joe Arpaio 2.0. And the Board of Supervisors as well is very important. So those are some local races that I'm really checking out. The county races, that's where my heart lies.
Yeah, Maricopa County has a lot of split ticket voters, so these are going to be close races. Republicans have had registration gains, and so if you have very high turnout, it could be that the raw Republican voter registration advantage gives them a bit of a lift. But I'll be watching those as well, and we probably won't know those results on election night.
Yeah.
And registration gains. What is going on with Democratic registration, which has gone like this, while independents go like this, and Republicans go like that? There's your graphic.
Arizona is a very independent state. We know that. People like to not identify with the parties. That is something, obviously, we can't do anything about this time, but that is something we must address for the next 2 years if we want to be successful in 26. We've got to find out why people aren't registering as Dems. So we have to make a push as a party to do that over the next 2 years. We've got to figure out what's going on, and we've got to register more Dems.
I think we know. Pendulum swing back and forth, and President Biden's unpopular. Okay. So new registrants, independent voters, they're going to register Republican to counter President Biden's agenda.
Got to end it there. Chad Haywood, Stephen Sligocki, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
And that's our show for this week. Thanks very much to all of our guests, and thank you so much for joining us. See you back here next weekend for another round of Sunday Square Off.